Well, Barack Obama presidency would leave our nation weakened, diminished, and divided. That's what Jerome Corsi says. He's the author of this brand new book, The Obama Nation. But
Bob Beckel, former campaign manager for Walter Mondale and a Fox News contributor, has something to say about this, and both join us live this morning. Good morning to both of you, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so let me start with you, Jerome, because obviously you became well-known with your many other books, but in particular the Swift Boat book about John Kerry.
Yes.
Now you've written one about Barack Obama. You say that this is not pro-McCain, it's not pro-Hillary. This book is directly against Obama. Why?
Well, I wrote the book because of Obama's far-left politics, which date back to the time he was in his formative years, continued through his Saul Alinsky days in Chicago, and have continued through his policies today. I mean, the idea that we're going to have windfall profits and take from the oil companies and distribute $1,000 checks to poor people is radical redistribution of wealth. Is Fox making too much money for Barack Obama? Maybe he wants 2% to redistribute to poor people.
Hey, Bob, is Jerome Corsi revealing a far-left politician? He does have the most liberal record in the Senate.
Yeah, Mr. Corsi, with all due respect, usually I'm sort of lighthearted on this early morning show, which I love this show, Mr. Corsi, but I'll tell you, not this morning. This book is full of innuendos, misstatements, lies. He says, Mr. Corsi says, it's 300 pages, 600 footnotes, and I stand by every statement in this book. Well, let me see if you stand by some of these statements, Doctor. Obama never revealed if or when he stopped using drugs. That's a lie. The truth is that he said in his own book, Dreams from My Father, that he stopped when he got into college.
Well, great. We have Barack Obama's testimony on that. What additional proof do we have? I mean, there's no indication that...
What proof do we have when you stopped using drugs? I mean, what does that mean? That's ridiculous.
I mean, look, I'm not running for president. Barack Obama is. He fully admitted his drug use, both marijuana and cocaine. He says it continued through college. He began it in high school.
He did not say it continued through college.
Yes,
that is just absolutely wrong.
I'm sorry,
Mr.
Beckel.
Wrong.
He does. He said at Occidental College he was continuing drugs. It's in the first discussion of his Occidental College days.
Okay, besides the drugs.
Hold on one more second. You said Malcolm X was his mentor in college. Malcolm X been dead 15 years when he got to college.
Well,
what's the truth about that?
He read Malcolm X. He has extensive... that's probably good enough. He had extensive discussions of Malcolm X in his autobiography. It goes page after page. He says Malcolm X was the person he resonated with more than any other African-American author that he read.
But, Mr.
Did you ever read anything about Hitler or anything like that?
They didn't resonate with me, and I never said...
Oh, I see.
Obama,
and you know that they
Obama
resonated
goes
with
on.
Obama.
Well, he said so. Just read his autobiography.
I've read his autobiography, and I don't think you have.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. About memorize his autobiography, and he says it explicitly.
Really?
He says directly that Malcolm X was the mentor that he resonated with most in reading.
Obviously, this is a heated debate, and we are going to continue it more with Mr. Corsi and Mr. Beckel when we return.
We are rejoined by Jerome Corsi and Bob Beckel. Believe it or not, our D.C. Bureau has lost all power. Bob's trying to get us on the cell phone. We're going to talk to him in a second. And Bob, obviously, Democratic strategist, and Jerome Corsi wrote the book, Obama Nation, just out, and it's an extensive look at what you say is Barack Obama's background and beliefs. For example, when you look at Barack Obama and some of his ties, you're never going to get people to agree what your conclusions are. But we know that Barack Obama as a candidate is moving to the middle. So why don't you think he believes what he's saying now, judging by his background?
Well, that's a normal ploy. I mean, most Democratic candidates run to the left in the primaries, then to the center. But it doesn't reflect their true beliefs. I'm especially suspicious of Obama. He's a Saul Alinsky organizer, and Saul Alinsky taught in his radical socialism for redistribution of wealth, you say whatever is necessary to get you power. Saul Alinsky said radicals should, shave their beards, put on ties, and run for office, and Barack Obama did.
Is Barack Obama out of the mainstream of even the Democratic Party?
Barack Obama's out of the mainstream even of African Americans.
Well, then why is he ripping the African American community, saying, dads, be more responsible?
Well, first of all, you take this black liberation theology, which is a revolutionary theology that blacks need to organize around a figure to get rid of us, the capital imperialists who are imposing blacks.
You really think he has this secret agenda, Jerome?
Well, no, this is the core of black liberation theology. He was in this church for 20 years. most African-American churches, the vast majority, are, plain, straightforward Christian churches. This black liberation theology is a radical movement even within African-American churches.
I guess you could argue that Barack Obama joined that church simply for political purposes,
well,
and
then
maybe not
another,
then you've got a different argument there. We do have Bob Beckel back on the phone now. Bob, have you been able to hear this part of the conversation?
Yeah, I have. I don't know who your friends are down here, Doctor, but they did a good job.
Well, Bob, you fried it out down there. You get too excited.
Since I know we don't have much time, Doctor, let me make a couple other points you make in this book. You said that Barack Obama supported a bill to allow mothers to kill their babies even after they were born. Now, were they going to use knives, guns, or how are they going to do that? And
well,
do you actually believe that to be true?
Well, it's true. Take a look.
Oh, come on.
Well, Bob, I quoted him from the Illinois Senate floor. This was a case of a baby that survived an abortion attempt, late-term forced labor abortion, and the nurse, who is very famous out in Illinois, held this baby for 45 minutes, took it from the linen closet. Baby had Down syndrome until the baby died.
The baby
and
died.
Obama, on the floor of the Illinois State Senate, said that woman had an absolute right to abortion, to kill the baby even if it survived that abortion.
That is blatantly untrue.
Well, you haven't looked at the case. I'm sorry.
Can I give you a couple other Corsi comments just so people can understand the person writing this book? Corsi on Muslims. Ragheads are boy bumpers and clearly are women.
Well, Bob, why don't you talk about the apologies that I did? You can go ahead, talk about the apologies.
You called John effing Commie Kerry. He married Teresa, then he became a Jew. You say about Hillary Clinton, fat hog Clinton.
Bob,
quote,
those are
anybody ask why Hillary Clinton...
Bob, let's stick to this
those
book.
are old comments, long ago apologized for.
Did you make those comments? Did you make those comments?
Bob, you're going back to things that are ancient. I've already...
anybody who make those comments... Listen, I wish you well, because you need some help.
Well, Bob, look, if those are old comments. Why don't you go to the apologies for them? I said I wouldn't write anything that used extreme or impolitical speech. I haven't done that since those comments. Those comments have been long ago apologized for. You're going back to ancient history without talking about the apology.
How long ago was anybody asked Hillary why she couldn't stop B.J. Bill being satisfied?
Bob,
She's a lesbo.
I never defend these comments.
Let's talk about this book.
History.
Can we talk about talk about this book? Let's just talk about this book in particular. What's the one thing that you think Bob doesn't even know about Barack Obama?
Well, I don't think Bob appreciates how extremely leftist Obama is. And by the way, attacking me does not answer the arguments in this book. Ad hominem attacks on me are a fairly low way of trying to get to the substance of what I'm saying.
Bob, but you understand why people may not, why Bob would take issue with some of the things.
Well, Bob ought to look at the apologies. He ought to look at the whole record and not just go back to the original charges as if they have not been answered.
Hey, Bob, we'll give you the last word, Bob.
Doctor, I have looked through a good part of your book. All I can tell you is you say you have 600 sources. Most of those sources are people who have right-wing agendas who are against Barack Obama.
It's
I'm telling you, these are not ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem attacks are made up. These are things you did say, and I think you may have apologized for them, Doctor, and a lot of us have said things we wish we hadn't said. But frankly, if you're holding yourself out here to be an expert on Barack Obama and say the kinds of things you've said, you have to understand why some of us question not only your standing, not only the accuracy of your book, but also your history.
Bob, this will be my 4th New York Times bestseller, hopefully, in the last 4 years. I've written 8 books in the last 2 years, and you're going back to ancient history. I don't think that's fair.
The author of Abomination,
I'd love to talk to you again, Dr. Corsi.
Anytime.
You know what? We'll do this again.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
You got it.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Dr. Corsi.